Hey guys, I wanted to go over some stuff because it still hasn't stopped raining. If it ever will, maybe I'll be able to fish again. But it's a technique I like to use in small streams and small rivers, especially after a good rain in those rivers. It's a really effective thing. I'm a pretty big bead fisherman. I love fishing beads, but I want to go over fishing a fixed float with either a jig or a worm. This one's seen better days, so I mean, it's not supposed to do that. I can just run some super glue on it. It's not a big deal. I I have other ones. I don't have any other ones right now. And the one that actually isn't beat up like this is on my rod, and I don't feel like undoing it all, even though it's really simple. I can just as for demonstration, I can just show you later. Anyways, this is a really effective technique. It really helps your jig stay in the zone better, if that makes any sense. It's a lot simpler. All you have to do is, I'll show you in a minute. All you have to do is it's on your line and you just slide it up. You don't have to like slide a bobber stop up and guess and all this stuff. And it's it'll be straight from your jig, which will be on this end, to your float. It's really good, especially, if you need to run a jig or a worm, like I said. I've never tried running a bead off of it. I'm sure people do. Yeah, so I'll show you how to run a fixed float with a jig. This happens to be a 16th ounce addicted jig. They're pink UV fuchsia. It's a great jig. Yeah, so let's get started. So normally this would be tied to your braid. I like to use a 30 to 60 pound braid. I like to use high vis just so I can see it better. I don't think it really matters. I've used it for summer steelhead. It doesn't seem to matter. Some people run another bumper, but no, I think it's fine. I like to use a double uni knot. You can look up other braid to leader fluoro attach. This is a 12-pound fluorocarbon. I like 12-pound for steelhead. I have 10 and 15 over here. I've even used 20 when the water's really muddy, especially for plunking, which we can't use bait here, so that sucks. So yeah, let's get started, and I'll walk you through how to attach this and end this. You can look up the double uni knot. It's all over YouTube. It's pretty simple knot once you learn it. I'm not going to go into all those, but the first thing you're going to do is take your leader, take the little tube, this little tube that comes with these floats, right? And you're going to slide this black piece of tubing. No, excuse me. This one actually starts with the red piece of tubing up top. So the little red piece of tubing here is kind of pink in this light. So you slide this reddish pink piece of tubing up your line. Pretty simple so far, right? Just sliding line. And then there's these holes, just like any other float, on the side right here that show, just to run your line through it. So I just slide this up a little bit, slide my line through, just like you would normally. And then I like to wet that stem a little bit, wet the line, everything, so I don't know, less friction. And again, this one's kind of janky, so I have to hold the other stem down here as from getting snagged up. Then I like to leave just a little bit of room up off this stem, just like that. Pretty simple so far, pretty easy to follow. And then there's these weight systems that come with it. And since this is a 16th ounce, I am definitely going to use both these little weights. So here's one. Slide that on. Get the other one out of the box. Slide that one on. And then that little black piece of tubing, this one right here, you slide up the line. Like so. Pretty simple so far. Wet that stem. And shove. Sometimes it gets a little bit difficult. There you go. And pretty much right there, you're set up. I mean, as far as your jig goes, as far as your float goes, and you can just slide that up. I like to wet the line a little bit, avoid friction on the line if at all possible. So right there, imagine this right here is connected. These things float and they ride so good in the water. I really love them. I've not really fished with them a lot. I've always run your typical. This is a 1/2 ounce, just another great float. This is their AF. This is their AF3 here. And that's a great float. Or, you know, if I'm fishing beads or whatever, I'm running the bobber dogging float, little chubby. So next thing is, for now, there's different knots you can tie. I'm just going to tie a clinch knot onto this jig. So regular old clinch knot. Run through. Wet it down. Pull it tight, and then you'll clip that little tag end off. So something important with jigs, and I actually run another knot called a perfection loop. But honestly, I don't tie it bad. It works. I don't have it break on me, but it's not as pretty as I'd like it for the camera. So anyways, I don't have my clippers on me, so I'm not going to clip that tag in. So the important thing about fishing with jigs is generally you want your jig riding like this. See how that line sits straight off the end of that eye? Sometimes I'll even cock it down like this, so to make sure that when it's riding in the water, it's riding this way, this kind of profile, generally towards the fish. I know some guys that actually prefer to flows like this, and it comes down like this. I don't know. I tend to do a little bit better when it's cocked right down the middle, or if I'm running a loop knot. The advantage of the loop knot is it always stays like this in the water. And it moves a little bit more freely and gives a little bit more action in the water. Because you want these, whatever material this is, this hackle they use on these jigs, with that Flashaboo stuff, it really reacts well in the water. And that's what those fish are seeing. They're seeing those little motions in that fur just go and pulsating like that. And those fish go crazy for it. That's why twitching jigs work so well. That's why some flies work so well. So as you can see, I'll just slide this down here. It doesn't really matter if I break that or not, I guess. You can see I can slide this down. I mean, I can find a run. If I see a steelhead sitting in 8 inches of water, I can just poop right there. I'm ready to go. I mean, I can run that thing right through its face, and it might bite it. You know, I can run it all the way up to, I usually run about 7 or 8 feet, or maybe a little more, depending if I know I'm fishing a little bit more water back. I can run this thing up even further if I want to. But generally, you know, when I'm fishing these small streams and these creeks, I like to keep it at about, you know, whatever the water depth is. But a lot of times I'm not fishing over 4 or 5 feet. I'm fishing like right there, you know, because I'm trying to get that jig to come right down into those fish's face. I want to be like 6 to 8 inches off the bottom, maybe a foot at the most. If there's some bigger boulders, I stay off a little bit. But yeah, I like to make sure that I'm always in the zone. And again, you can use this with jigs, or you can use it with like here's a worm. You know, this is a 1/8 ounce head black purple addicted worm, black addicted jig. Gets the job done. I usually cut those down, but I was fishing some high water last time, and I wanted a big profile. Yeah, it's one of my favorite techniques. Beads are great. I can go over how I set my bead setup up. It's a little bit different. I'll either use one of these bobber dogging floats, or I only have one. It's a Beadmaster float, fairly similar to this clear drift, or this is a Bomac clear float, but I don't set it up with an inline weight like you typically see with sliding. I set it up with split shot. It's interesting. It's different. I like the way it tracks, and you can kind of bobber dog with it if you want to, because you leave tag end. You'll leave your tag end, like it's on that little tag end right there. You leave a little bit longer than that, and you can attach your split shot up to here. You can attach split shot onto it, and sometimes that float will tip over like your bobber dog and then pull it down. But if you want to run it, what's called chandeliering, where you want to run it straight down, just off the bottom, straight through the hole with a bead, you know, you can. It's great for that. It's great set, especially again in the smaller rivers and creeks I usually fish. Not a big fan of the big river steelheading where you got to have a 13-foot long rod and cast, you know, a quarter of the way across or 3/4 of the way across the river, you know, which is like, you know, 30 yards, 40, 50, 60 yards. Not really my deal. I've done it, I've caught fish, but it's just not my favorite, and I really just don't enjoy it. So yeah, I'm hoping the rain settles down here enough for me to be able to get out and actually start getting some footage. I'm ordering tonight, hopefully at midnight, hopefully that we all know about the stimulus checks. That's part of one of the reasons I'm able to get some new equipment. Unfortunately, the microphone, which would make this audio a lot better, won't be here for a while. They're not back in stock until January 12th, I think. So probably not like until like the 15th, 16th, 17th. Hopefully by then we have enough dry periods to where at least the small streams are fishing. I think it just started to start raining again. That really sucks. You know, it's 9:34 p.m. when I'm recording this, and I was hoping it wouldn't rain for the next few hours, but apparently it's going to rain really hard and blow. This is what happens when you live here. You know, I know that you guys out in the Midwest, if anyone's listening from the Midwest, you guys have to deal with ice in your rivers, which is probably worse because it lasts longer. But, you know, it is what it is. I really like this this P line here. This is my favorite fluorocarbon right here. This SS leader fluorocarbon from P line. You know, some people say it might be a little thicker than you would want for a fluorocarbon, but I think it does what a fluorocarbon does and hides your stuff a little bit, but it also provides a really strong line. I use the 15 on Chinook every year. Every year I've used it. It doesn't really feel. I'll use 20 if I'm fishing a little bit higher. But I'm talking like Chinook in the late summer when the water's still really low. We're talking where a river's average flow in the winter is 1,400. It's like, 90. So pretty clear water conditions where you got to use really sneaky tactics, and you got to really, really, really pay attention to your line diameter. Besides that, let's see. I'm expecting some equipment this week. I'll do an unboxing for that. Probably some parts for my GoPro, which is actually propping up my phone right now. I only have like just that lamp for lighting right now. I actually have like professional studio lighting, but it's not here. I don't have the sockets for it right now. I'm ordering some power strips and whatnot, and that I don't have. So all my other ones are being used for home electronics and entertainment centers and stuff. And let's see. Yeah. So I should have that, it's Prime. So hopefully within 2 or 3 days, but we all know with everyone ordering everything, the shipping has been a little slower this season. I think yesterday I went over some of my jigs in my box here. There's my 1/4 ounce, then a couple of my 1/8 ounce, and then my 16th ounce I have there. I'm a little sparse because honestly, I fish beads more, but this is when jigs shine. Especially, I might actually run a jig like this with the water, big 1/4 ounce. I might, if in places I can, I'll shove a piece of prawn, like just Costco prawn or piece of sand shrimp up that tail. And you got that nice profile coming at you. They're going to see it and they're going to like that. It's something I'll definitely run. Or one of these 1/8 ounce, like bright pink looking things. That one's kind of beat up, but you get the point. Some guys like running even these darker nightmare patterns but I'm like, I want to run this hot orange UV color. I want UV flash when the water's up in dark green or even a little muddy. I've caught fish on plenty of UV things. Obviously one of the big things going to be, and I can run it with the same flow, is something like, like that first worm I showed you, something like this is definitely going to shine in all this water. In places you can use it, run a little scent stick and run it up. It's bait wax stuff from Procure. It's really good stuff. And then, another thing that's really going to shine is actually going to be like this, like nuclear colored, if I can get the colors coming right, but it's got like chartreuse and stuff in this bead right here. This is a BNR soft bead, squishy. This bead right here is actually caught most of my fish this year. This is a pearl, or a peach that they just came out with from BNR. And then, my all-time favorite colored bead is a cerise. That's my bead box, so I can show it without spilling everything. Kind of just one little bead box I have. My go-to colors there, pinks and nail polish pinks, oranges, orange with chartreuse. I have some of these little shrimp orange. I like to use these as a dropper. These get bit pretty regularly, actually. I have some blues in there. I don't share that a lot, so Tidewater and blue. Like this jig right here. This one right here catches a lot of fresh fish down lower in river systems when the water is low. It actually catches summer runs too. That color, that bluish kind of color, shines really well in tidewater. Just FYI. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm really going to share for tonight. I hope that we can fish soon. I hope all my equipment gets here soon and I can really get my GoPro working and put out some better content than just me sitting in my freezing cold garage talking about fishing. I know that January 8th, WandaVision comes out for all you nerds out there. I'm excited about that. I'll probably do a review of the first episode, how I like it, how I think it ties into the next phase, phase 4 for Marvel. I'm really excited about Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok is, like I said in my last video, is one of my favorite by far. Besides maybe the last 2 Avengers movies, Endgame and Infinity War. Split shows around. Yeah. Anything else? That's pretty much my update. Both these videos are about 17 minutes long, so kind of long-winded sometimes. Other times I might just come on and say 1 or 2 things and give you an update. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, if you want to see me do something when I get my stuff, just let me know. My next purchase, my next bigger purchase once if this thing starts to take off a little bit, it would be like a Mavic Pro Mini, a drone. I would love to get some great cinematic drone shots of some of the beautiful landscapes I like to put myself in when I go fishing. I have a trip, actually. I have a sheet here of ideas. And my first thing I really want to film, my first big trip, is with a local guy, Keith Johnson, K-Fish Guide Service. He's a great guy to fish with him a few times. Going with him, and then Fishing for Real, Jacob from Fishing for Real. I'm going to be going with him. He's going with me. We're going to go up there and go after some trophy steelhead. Unfortunately, we can't fish out of the boat. You have to be you have to be outside of the boat with the fishing rod in your hand. You can't be casting from inside the boat because, I don't need to get into the fishing politics here, but yeah, I'm excited to go still. We're going to catch a monster. One of us is going to catch our PB. Last year, I hooked a fish, so I left my sunglasses in the truck. Like an idiot. It was a bluebird sky. It was cold. It was like 22 degrees in the morning, but it was still bluebird skies. And we got to this slot where there was a log jam. And Keith said, hey, I'll watch your bobber for you. Don't worry about it. I said, hey, I got so much glare, I can't see nothing. And he's like, I watch it for you. And he's like, all right, you're about 10 feet from that log jam. Go ahead and start thinking about reeling it in. And I just hear, Jared, set the hook. So I set the hook as hard as I can. I'm a big dude, 6 foot, 360. And I set this hook and it felt like a big Chinook. My PB Chinook is like 43 pounds on a scale. So, this fish felt that heavy and fought that hard. I still couldn't see it. And he's like, that thing's going right for the log jam. It's a spinning reel. So he said, you got to palm that thing. 3 things are going to happen. You're going to pull them out and we're going to get them up and get them in the net, keep them in the water, but get them in the net and land this thing. He's going to break off or he's going to bend the hook and get off. And he said, those are the only 3 options. And it was option, 4. He just popped off, didn't bend the hook, didn't break the hook, didn't break the line, didn't land. He just popped off. So that was that. And he said the tail was like that tall, and he said, no, that was over 20. That was definitely, I've banked thousands of steelhead and still haven't gotten to 20. My biggest on a scale is 17 and a half. So I'm looking forward to breaking that this winter. My trip's in the end of February. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. Hopefully the rivers are in shape by then. Who knows? 2021 might be the year of rain. So yeah, that's that. And then I'm excited for bass season to get going. I do like the bass fish, trout fish. What else do I got on here? I guess I can go over this. Oh, springer season. Never been a huge springer guy. Kind of like caught one out of my local river here a long time ago and they had a season and I just said whatever and went to go plunking and ended up hooking into one on accident, basically. Didn't expect anything would happen. It was not really a great springer fishery. And so I count that one as my first, but not really. Last year I actually caught my first because I actually went out and targeted springers, like pounded the bank and used bait and actually ended up catching it on a blue fox, which was cool. Yeah, so they're at Springers, there's bass, trout, in April, some year-round lakes, but those are things that keep me occupied until summer steelhead starts. And I want to do some daily vlogs. Just going out to the lake and be like, hey, I'm out here fishing today. See what I can do, see what I can catch. Yeah. Then of course this year's a pink year. So usually around middle towards the end of July, there's some local places I can go catch pink salmon, which is great. They're fun. I mean, some people don't like the taste. I catch them out of the salt water. So you get them on ice pretty quick and they smoke up great, or even just throw them on the barbecue with lots of butter and lemon. They're great. So there's that. That's always entertaining, if anything. Bringing the GoPro out there and filming in the salt water, that's going to be fun. On light gear, I like to use light gear. I'm probably gonna do some like theory videos with nerdy stuff too, like Star Wars and Marvel and whatnot. You know, what else? Summer steelhead. I said fall Chinook. When fall Chinook starts up in August for me, definitely gonna bring it along. And then my main season for salmon is actually October into November. That's my main. That's for coho, and that's always a fun season for me. It's one of my favorites. And then winter steelhead again. I like the early winter steelhead. It's fun. Not a lot of people fish that early season. They like to, steelhead don't come in the rivers until January. Around here they come in when you know where they are and what rivers they're in. So wrap it up with just hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It's not like I'm in this for money, but I would like to be able to monetize my channel and be able to share my passion with people and grow my skills as a videographer, as a filmmaker, and show my passion of the outdoors, of fishing, hunting, of Star Wars, Marvel, gaming, anything else, I'm passionate about. And I want to be able to, again, bridge that gap between like, I like going deer hunting, but I also liked Star Wars. And some people are like, well, you have to choose which one. I don't think so. There's a lot of people out there that feel left out of one community or the other. They can't fit in. I think, that's stupid. I have worn stuff like Star Wars hats and shirts out to the river, and people are like, oh, Star Wars, you nerd. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a nerd, whatever, I have 6 salmon, you have none. I'm just kidding. But, just, how fishermen get, we get competitive when they're out there. And I think that, as a community, we could make this something where people that don't feel like they fit the mold of an outdoorsman, or even fit the mold of a nerd, like, it's as it is, it's 2021, and there's people out there that are basically in the closet about their nerddom, their fandom. Because they work a 9 to 5 with their hands. They're around a bunch of like macho people all day, and then they go home and they watch Star Wars, they watch Marvel, not really a huge Trekkie. Sorry, never watched Star Trek. I know, sacrilege if I call myself a nerd. Just not into it. Not my deal. But they go home and watch Star Trek. They go to every new Marvel or Star Wars movie or DC movie that opens up. They love the Dark Knight. They love all these things, but they almost have to hide it. And I think that's, and it goes the other way too, where, maybe people that are, have a big, fandom group of friends that go to every Star Wars movie together or every Marvel opening movie together, and they feel like they are like shunned if they go hunting and kill a deer, or if they go fishing and harvest a fish to eat, or just for the enjoyment of it. There's no reason why you can't do both those things. I do. I know a lot of people that do, actually, but a lot of people have to hide those things, and it's hard. I was that kid in school that was always friends with, I was friends with the nerds, I was friends with the guys who went hunting and fishing, I was friends with the jocks and the popular kids, and I want everyone to feel welcome here. That if you have a question, just ask. If you need to reach out, reach out to me. I've spent a lot of time in the church. I've spent a lot of time helping people through really tough times, and I'm always here to listen. I'm always here to talk. 24 minutes and 53 seconds. I can talk. And if you have any advice for me, if you've been doing this a lot longer and you happen to stumble upon this video, if I need to shut up and not talk as much, if I'm not engaging, if I'm slurring my speech because I have a tongue tie, which makes it kind of hard to talk sometimes. I have to really concentrate on my words, and I'm a little bit ADD probably. Yeah, I think that we could make this something really cool, a cool community, a cool brand to build up. And, I would like to use it to support my fishing habit, at least in my nerddom. But, I wouldn't mind being able to do this for a living and be able to provide for my family doing something I love outside of the typical realm of, a normal 9 to 5. Because I have to tell you, everyone that's successful at YouTube or as an Instagram influencer, so they actually work. Every vlogger you see, every vlog you watch, these people work. Some of the ones I really look up to, like Flair or Lunkers or, or the Gookin Squad or Addicted, they work, especially like, Addicted. Marlon works a full-time job and then goes off and films. Like Flair, he's filming every single day for hours and hours on end. And sure, it looks like it's just fun all the time, but I can guarantee you it's not. I can guarantee you there's days where they get up and go, I don't want to do this. I don't care if this is paid for my giant farmhouse with 80 acres. And, I'd rather just go work at a store somewhere or something, like, just so I don't have to worry about this filming schedule anymore. I know it's going to happen. It's kind of like I have friends that, they've guided salmon fishing and steelhead fishing. And they're just like, I got into this because I loved it, but now I don't even want to fish anymore because it's just work to them. And I know that, they still love it, and I want to still love this. I want it to be work. I want it to challenge me and bring on new challenges. This is a challenge for me being in front of the camera. I've always been behind the camera. I've never really wanted or had any desire to have a YouTube channel where I'm on it vlogging or talking to the camera at all. I'm comfortable talking to people. I've had meetings with people that are way above my pay grade, and been in places where I've had to talk and, and speak before new public speaking. I'm not polished. I'm not, some super handsome spokesperson that, is great on camera, looks great on camera, talks great. But I really have a passion for the things I do. Ask anyone that knows me, they know I have a passion for Star Wars. They know I have a passion for Marvel. They know I have a passion for fishing. I mean, like a huge passion for fishing, and and it's a drive for me, and I want this to drive that passion. I also want it to be an outlet for me to show it to people that you can love both things, you can do both things. And I know this is getting to be a little bit of real talk here, but this is something to keep me honest and keep me driving forward in my life. And I want that to be the same thing for you. I want you to be able to feel like you can do things that you never thought you could do. And that's what I want to do. I'm looking at over here at my computer screen. I have 48 views. 49 views after I refreshed it on my last video. And that's like, that's a big deal to me. I'm proud of that. I can't wait for that to be 49,000 views and 4.9. If that happens, great. But I don't care if it just stays like 50 as much as I just want this to be something I can do that I love, that doesn't bankrupt me, and, that, enhances other people's experiences and gives them a place to discuss and talk. And yeah, and I'm kind of going around in circles a little bit, but, I don't want this to just be labor. I want it to be a labor of love. I want it to be a passion project that, that maybe produces an income that provides for my family, that I have a unique ability to be able to do this a lot of hours, and that's great. And I've had skills I've picked up, on my 30 years of living that help me, and with stuff I've done, stuff I've gotten paid for, stuff I haven't gotten paid for that I've just learned because I'm passionate about it. Yeah, so let's go on this journey. Again, sorry this turned into like a real talk. I was supposed to just be, showing how to set up a fixed float system. So anyways, have a good, whatever time it is you're watching this, good morning, night, afternoon. I hope that, you learned a little something. Most people know how to set these up, but if you don't, It's a great way to go catch your first steelhead or salmon. Preferably steelhead. Once you get the salmon, use an egg, so the fixed float system works a little bit better, more weight. But yeah, go out and catch some fish. And I will see you probably in 5 days on the 8th when WandaVision comes out. We usually stay up to midnight to watch like The Mandalorian. I'll be giving a review. Even if nobody sees it, I'm still going to give a review. I can go back and look on it later. If anything, I can go back and look on this stuff later. So I'll see you on the 8th. This is long. All right. Talk to you later.